this is embarrassing. I think this was the fourth or fifth time I've reread it this year. I finished it in January of 2024. It was a reread for me. We have so many new friends! Taria, T, Darzog, Lauren, your first time, SMG, Tina, Tay, amazing. Okay. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Trained to be in the scribe quadrant. The female main character, Violet, found herself instead in the rider's quadrant, the most elite in Navarre, where survival of the fittest and where survival is of the fittest and the strongest. All she needs to do is not get killed and bond with a dragon. Sounds easy, right? Wrong! Not only does she have to escape the clutches of the students who want her dead due to her family name and physical challenges, only a few dragons are willing to bond. She also has to keep away from Xaden, the main male character, who wants her dead. So, obviously, I've compared this to Divergent, dragons, academia settings, fantasy, chronic illness. Yes, chronic illness and disability representation. Violet has a condition that affects her bones and ligaments and leaves her in chronic pain, otherwise known as, does anybody know? Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, who Rebecca Yarros has. So she really put a lot of herself into Violet. And I really love that because you don't see a lot of heroines in fantasy having a disability. And as somebody that is also disabled, who is a chronic illness cutie, it was really awesome to see and see the changes and accommodations, but also her strength through it. And also to have people support her and love her through it and say, yeah, you're a badass, Xaden. And some people belittled her throughout the whole way. Dane's just a little bitch. I mean, let's be honest here. This book is enemies to lovers, which loosely, this is more like acquaintances to lovers. There have been other books that are way more enemies than they start out, because immediately her reaction to seeing Xaden is like, oh my god, he's so hot. Oh wait, he wants to kill me, but like, he's hot. I'm like, listen, if I've seen him, probably same girl. I say the spice level was 3 out of 5. For the actual depiction / scenes, there's only 2. But 5 out of the 5 for the spice payoff leading up to it because of the slow burn. I have realized I'm a slow burn gal. I am a slow burn gal. Who else is? Fucking Jack. Did y'all hear what Kip said, by the way? So Kip hasn't finished this yet, okay? And Kip was like, Jack better not be alive at the end, okay? Remember, we're just talking about Fourth Wing right now, pals, okay? And I was like, hope they're going to enjoy that. I hope they're going to enjoy that. But fucking Jack, love a slow burn. So good. You want to feed Dane's ball sack to his dragon. Same. Absolutely same. Because in the beginning, you're like, oh, like friends to lovers? Also, I feel like Dane is going to have a bigger part to play at some point. But in this book, I just wanted to punch him. I truly did. You know who he reminds me of? Anybody in here read ACOTAR? He reminds me of Tamlin. Where, like, you think he's a good guy, but he actually has a lot of issues, and he's actually terrible. Like, honestly terrible to the main female character, to the point where it's almost like emotional abuse. Maybe not physical abuse, but like emotional abuse? Yeah. 100%. Tampon. Yeah, he is. Dane is tampon. Yeah. Without consent. Thank you. Absolutely thank you. He does. He touches Violet's face without her consent 9 times. So if y'all remember, he has a signet, okay? So let's review this. Once you get bonded with a dragon, at some point, you're going to come together and you're going to get a power from the dragon, which is called a signet. And Dane bonded with a dragon, and his power, his signet, is touching somebody's face and getting memories from that. And he touched her quite a lot. So I feel like he knows more than he's letting on. And clearly, we found that out towards the end of the book, where they almost got killed because he was running to his father about everything. Yeah, he touches her face so much. So much. I think it was history, Starfunks. I think it was history and the fact that their parents were friends, so it wasn't something that she could just like brush off. And plus, too, remember in the beginning, she and her sister are so close, and Mira says, oh, go to Dane. Dane will help you. So I think she was trying to also respect her sister's wishes because of his hate for Zayden. Yeah. 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 Cut off his hands. She's some breakable thing. I know. I'll miss you, Violet. Right into the chin. So let me tell you a little bit about my thoughts. From the first page to the last page, y'all know, I was fucking hooked, okay? So this is still the first time, really, that I was reading it, and I'm trying to remember that. The world building is super detailed and well thought out, but not overly done, even though it's still considered high fantasy since the setting is not of our own world. With that being said, it's very, very easy to get into. This may not be the book for some people because a lot of stuff is spoon-fed to you. Not everything, because there are still surprises. But in terms of the world building, you don't really have to think outside of the box. Any questions that you have, you're told later on as the novel goes on. This is a great entry-level fantasy read. And it's more of a romance plot with a fantasy subplot than fantasy with a romance subplot. But I love that. I thought the balance was really, really good. Speaking of the plot, it's very consistent. The foreshadowing, immaculate. We'll talk about the end after. And the prose flows elegantly into all of the various plots. The pacing fluctuates a bit in the second half, but mostly stays fast-paced for most of the book. Something that I really liked what Rebecca did is we have the overall theme, right? The overall plot and then the subplots. And she was like tying them nicely with bows, then moving on to the next one, then tying that nicely with a bow, then moving on to the next one. It pushed things along without being too overwhelming. And then she did something which George R.R. Martin could never, which is, yes, there are still some outstanding questions, but you're not like questioning 700 billion different things. She had just the right amount of characters, just the right amount of plot points, just the right amount of character arcs to make this simply wonderful. George R. Martin could never, baby, we're never getting that in our lifetime. You think Violet wanted to love Dane, but he was so scared for her? I think he was scared for her, but also he was of the camp of my duties come before my love life. And she fell into that. He wanted to do what was right. He was like the more dickish Ned Stark. My honor, my duty. 100 pages to get hooked. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. I know, Liam. Oh my God. That was devastating. Devastating. Yeah, it wasn't overwhelming. The political differences and lore stuff. Yeah, I really do. And you can still dive in more, but the surface level stuff is great. So here's my question. I need the book in front of me. I don't know who, we can talk about this later because I'm kind of hopping all over the place, but I don't know if anybody noticed this the first read around. I didn't. It wasn't until my second read around that I was like, unreliable narrator? So in the beginning of the book, on one of the first pages, I'm paraphrasing here, it says that these are the accounts of what happened, and it's translated by scribe so-and-so. So I want to know how this is coming to be. It's told in first person point of view. So is this being pulled directly from Violet's mind? Then what happens to like the Xaden chapters? Jacinia, right. But how is it? How? Like, this is something that has kind of stuck in my head, which we might not get confirmation or learn more about until the last book, but just something to think about where we possibly could have an unreliable narrator situation for all of the books. So keep that in mind when things are a little funky. But a frail, broken person. Yup, he was still trying to protect her. And she had 2 freaking dragons. A rule stickler, but wanted to break the rules to sneak Vi out for the first 2/3 of the book. Exactly. Such an Easter egg for the future. Mm-hmm. It is. It is Violet's friend from the scribe quadrant. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't want to think about it. Okay. I promise. Etsy. Oh! Is that the... Oh, I thought that was the Dana's little bitch one. Which one is that for Etsy? Fucking Jack Barlow. I love that. I gotta get that for Kip. I love Adarna. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking because we're gonna get to that. As mentioned previously, the romance is an angsty, slow burn. Acquaintances to lovers with spice. I'm being generous here with enemies to lovers because it ends up being more acquaintances to lovers or dislike to lovers, especially as the book goes on. Xaden and Violet's chemistry is off the freaking charts. They complement each other so well, and I love how open and honest they are with each other, and that both of them don't hold each other back. They give each other room to make mistakes, learn, and grow, at least until the climactic ending. Let's talk about the characters now. I love Violet. She is one of my favorite all-time female characters. She is the embodiment of determination, grit, and bravery, while still being compassionate, sympathetic, and empathetic towards others. I mean, as a great example, I love the banter between Mira and Violet in the beginning, but it's when she lends somebody she doesn't even know one of her shoes so they wouldn't fall to her death. She could have used that advantage. She could have been like, oh, I'll be set to cross the parapet. No worries. And she was like, oh, but like, I want to help out other people because some of them are forced to be here. I'm forced to be here. Like, let's all help each other out. The bravery of this girl. Her willingness to bet on herself time and time again when so many people around her keep telling her that she will never be good enough. Like fucking Dane is so inspiring. You can't help but root for her as the quintessential underdog because she never lets herself be a victim despite her physical limitations. Even all the times where she is gripping with dear strength, holding on to Tairn. And Tairn is trying to help her without making her feel bad, you know? She's still trying her hardest. She feels like the blueprint for my favorite kind of female main character. She is phenomenal. I just love everything about her. Now, yes, you could make the argument, oh my god, like, her feelings for Xaden come on really hard and fast and strong out of nowhere. Maybe he is that good looking. If you're going to have something with a romantic-y subplot, maybe some things are going to be unbelievable. I still think she's a great character. I still love her so much. Rhiannon is incredible. Oh my god. And hello, bisexual representation. Now listen, it's not like there's a huge, like lights blaring that Rhiannon is bisexual. But if you read in the pages, depending on the evening, she's staying over in different rooms. And she is a bisexual character, which is really, really awesome to see. Really awesome. Violet and Ophelia. Yes! I love Ophelia from Phantasma. Yeah. Violet loves Violet. I did not see that coming. Oh my god. This is so wild. She's badass, but so caring for her friends. Yeah. And her family, too. Her bravery and compassion identified with her, but she keeps getting up even when she's knocked down. Yeah. She's literally, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. Her character is why she has Taryn in. Yep, yep, yep. Taryn, excuse me, Taryn. Um, I think the reason that he adored her so much was because he saw her protect little Adarna, you know? And he's like, oh, she's got the morals that I want for a rider. This is somebody that I really want to bond. 19, I know. Going from I'm gonna die to I might die, but like I'm gonna go down screaming. I'm gonna go down kicking and punching and doing everything I can. And she also thinks out of the box too. Think about all the people she poisoned, right? She's like, okay, well, if I can't out trick them with my massive muscles and my training, which she didn't get a lot of, right? She only had 6 months to train. She's like, I'm going to do it another way because I am knowledgeable. She was going to go into the scribe quadrant. She knows all the history. She knows everything about flowers. She knows everything. She's a walking, talking Ask Jeeves. She's a walking, talking Google. So she figured out her strengths from that to help her out. And I really do think that's going to come in a really handy later on. It's literally so perfect. Oh my God, I know. He bows to her. Yeah. I'm sorry, Andrea. There's no big discussion about exactly. See, this is something I do love that because if we want to make that sort of representation common knowledge, I feel like it's better not to draw attention to that in the writing. It's like, yeah, this is just who she is. That's cool. That's awesome. You know, it's just like the one-offs in a book that you're reading. You know, you could have a man speaking and just be like, oh yeah, my husband, blah blah blah. You know, like that's commonplace. I love that. Yeah, everyone just accepts it. Fanfic off Wattpad, and the only times I like the book is when the grumpy dragon is on the page, when there's some banter going on and when there's action going on. Do you feel like the lull is not as, let's see, the lull is not as well written, or I guess, yeah, it's not as well written? I will not die today. Yeah, I do love that mantra. Yeah. Mira left Brennan's book for Violet. Yup. Which is phenomenal. Truly. Okay, let's keep going down. Zayden. I loved him. One of the things that I don't like, this is kind of a sidestep, there's so many great portraits of him on Google. I'm not talking about the AI ones. He's a POC, okay? I imagine his skin to be a lot darker than a lot of people are making him out to be. This man is not white, okay? That's all I will say. So when you're looking at like the fan art photos and stuff like that, please try and remember that this man is not white, okay? Thank you so much for the follow. Taco, how are you doing, baby? Hi. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a topic of conversation. Yeah. You think it's intentionally not well written to kind of normalize their life a little? I think it's one of two things. I think number one, it could have been not well written to be easier to read, and that's okay. Number two, this is a Red Tower book. We had this conversation before. Red Tower has been notorious the last year or two. It's a publishing company. They're publishing a shit ton of romantasy, okay? A couple of other titles I've also read from Red Tower. The game's God's Play. I've read 2 other ones and I can't think of it. They've gotten in hot water because usually the series, like if you have a series, let's not talk about George R.R. Martin, but let's talk about like Twilight, okay? It was normal at that point to have a book come out in like 2000, okay? And then the sequel wouldn't be out till 2022, 2023, okay? Something like that. Oh, I mean, 2000, 2003, 2004, whatever. Like 2 to 4 years difference so that the author can sit down and write and get the plot points straight and figured out. And then they do this huge promo thing. With Red Tower as a publisher, they are coming out fast. The game's God's Play came out a month or 2 ago? And the sequel book is coming out in September of next year. So that could be potentially an issue with Fourth Wing as a series. I guess all of the books under the Red Tower Publishing, where Rebecca Yarros is on a very strict deadline and needs to pump this stuff out. Yes, it could be. It could be. Now, I liked it just the same, but we'll get into this when we talk about Onyx Storm in January. The reason I didn't read Onyx Storm right away is because people were like, this is not as good. And I was getting inundated with it from Book Talk saying it is not as good. The writing is not as great, blah, blah, blah. Then they were like, actually, Fourth Wing wasn't that good. So take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt, but it's great that we're getting so much in such little time, but I am worried that that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be quality material. Hi, Mama! How are you doing? They are pumping them out, baby. They are pumping them out. Y'all, if you're just joining us, all Fourth Wing spoilers, but only for Fourth Wing. We're talking about Onyx, Iron Flame next month, and then Onyx Storm in February. They described Xaden. That's a really good... I don't have it in front of me right now, but they did describe him as having a darker skin tone. But I can't remember the exact words for it. 3 chapters from Xaden's point of view. Wait, 3? 3 of them? I thought there was only 1 chapter. I'm going to have to read those too. Unless I did. Hi, Fuchsia! It's changed in the past few years to accommodate for staying in the social media spotlight. Meanwhile, you're on year 7 and waiting for the next book for your favorite author, right? George R. R. Martin could never. She has been put on deadlines. Yeah. Do it, Simmer. Do it. Having windswept black hair and tawny brown skin, with dark brows and a muscular chest and arms. He also has a scar over his left eye and, of course, a rebellion relic marking that goes up his arm and side of his neck. Okay. But they do mention his skin tone on there. Yeah. I just think that's important to put out there because I don't want us to get into the issue. Okay, I don't know. Anybody in here, did you read Hunger Games? Do you remember when they made the first book into the movie and people were up in arms about Rue? And they're like, why did they change her race? And blah, blah, blah. She was a black girl in the books. And if anything, I actually envisioned, help me, what's her name? Our main character in Hunger Games, the girl. Katniss. I envisioned Katniss based off of where she lived to actually have darker skin because of the conditions around where she was living. I don't know if anybody else did. I don't think it was explicitly stated in the book, but I envisioned her of having darker skin. So yeah. You do remember that? Yeah. So anyway, I feel like, again, all of the character art I've been seeing for Xaden has been whitewashing him. So I just like to mention this so that, you know what Rebecca wants for her characters, and we can envision those. Yeah. Katie's I autocorrect. You tried. Another ad? No, this one is correct. We've been yapping. I think this one is correct. Right? Yeah. No, this one is correct because we've already been talking for 30 minutes. This one is good. Oh, no. This is the warning. You know what? Then that's what I must have seen before. It was the warning, not the actual ad. Okay, so we've been fine. They gotta change that. I wish they would do the warning in, like, yellow and then the ad break in green, something like that. It just doesn't help. Okay, so back to Xaden. I love him. Once he started opening up and we got to see the softer side of him, I was swooning. He's powerful. Oh my God, he is so sexy. He knows how to pick his battles. He's not a pushover. There was always a method to his madness, and he was always one step ahead of Violet for the benefit of them both and Navarre. I don't know if y'all in here are reading the graphic audio for Fourth Wing. I cannot recommend it enough. Xaden's voice actor for the cast audio is it's literally him. He's like gravelly but breathy and just, oh my god. If y'all have not listened to it yet, please. I'm not sponsored or affiliated. Dear God, I wish I was at this point. He's Xaden for me. He is Xaden. He's so good. You can't wait for part 2, yeah? What's breathy? I don't know if I can do it in my voice. He's not like this, where he's like a little bit softer. A little sultry with everything that he's saying. Where do you listen? You can listen to the cast audio on Audible. Let me get you the website, because I think they have everything listed there. Graphicaudio.net. Also, let me be clear here. The name of the brand is Graphic Audio. I don't want y'all to think that everything that they do is spicy. It's just the name of them. So this is the one that I talk about all the time. It's fully casted with voice actors. There's cinematic music. There's sound effects. It's literally a movie in your ears. For the girl that could not listen to audiobooks, I was hooked. One and done with them. They have a bunch of stuff on here. Coming up, they've got Brandon Sanderson. They have Fourth Wing. They have Iron Flame. They're going to have Onyx Storm. They've got all of the ACOTAR series. They have, oh my God, what else do they have? Red Rising. They have Crescent City. They have From Blood and Ash, which I cannot recommend that one enough. I've heard mixed reviews on Zodiac Academy, so don't hold me to that one. But yeah, they have a lot of stuff on there, a lot of more stuff like coming out right now. Lauren is the direct link to the Fourth Wing, so definitely check that out. And they're split into parts, so most of all of the books are split into 2 parts, so just keep that in mind. You can buy directly from them. I think you do save a little bit if you go through Audible, because I think you get 1 or 2 tokens a month if you subscribe. So you might, I think you will probably save. But Cyber Monday, 55% off series sets. It ends December 2nd, so some of the stuff might be on sale. The growly voice. No, it's so good. I wonder, hold on, Lauren, I wonder if I can, is there a preview? Hold on. That's a good one to showcase what they can do, but Xaden isn't in that one. But it's really good. It's really, really good. Yeah. Oh, wait, here's Xaden's voice. Oh, I've never seen. Hold on, can we check? Oh! Be pretty. Wait, he's on Cameo? No. 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 Chat, listen to me. If you have ever loved me and you want to get me a cameo for my birthday, I would not say no to this. This is the one time that I will not yell at you for being nice to me. He's on Cameo! Here. Oh my God, look, my finger just slipped. My birthday's on January 18th. He's on Cameo! Okay, I'm sorry. He's on there. TikTok's most romantic voice actor. The voice of Xaden Ryerson. And, oh my God, he's Lucian from ACOTAR. I didn't even know he was in that one. Incredible. Mercury Boy Wonder. I know. Isn't that great? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. We got to get back to the characters. But I'm just saying, help us now. This is the one time that I will allow you to be nice to me. Just this once. He's the voice of Xaden. Yeah. Isn't it great? Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about Asshole Dane. I hated him. He's a little bitch, as the bookmark says. I did like him in the beginning before, we actually got to know him. He's so overprotective of Violet. He doesn't believe she can do anything and thinks she is this little delicate flower who, time and time again, rescues herself from a myriad of situations because even if her body is physically weaker than the other students, her mind is so strong in coming up with different plans. Which, you know what pisses me off even more about him? She grew up with him. They were best friends from the beginning because of their parents working together, right? He, over Zayden, theoretically, because she was born with this condition, should have treated her better. Like, so he's been a jerk his entire life? Maybe she just didn't see it before because she had that, schoolgirl crush on him? I feel like that makes it worse that he's always been a jerk. He never believed in her. No. Rooting for him and Violet. I was too, because we didn't know him yet. No, so often he just won't accept her wishes. I know. Don't you actually love me? Yeah. Never shows her any respect. Never any respect. He values rules and order over absolutely everything, to the point they aren't even friends by the end, even if he didn't send her to die. His excuse is best guy hath changed him, right? That's what he says. When they first get together, she hadn't seen him in a few years. Does anybody remember? Was it like 2 years, 3 years? I know he's older than her, but by how many is? I think it's 2 years, right? He does. He acts like a needy little bitch. He wants to fit into that, like, brother mode and be her family there, and is willing to bend the rules to get her out. But once she's in here, he's all, I gotta do what's right for my squad. Yeah. We trade Dane for Lita. If only, please. Brother lover. The brother that kisses you. But then immediately regrets it because he's like, my honor. Brother to lover enemy. Oh, yeah. I love that she tells him later that she doesn't want anything to do with him. And he's like, but why? I was amazing. I was such a good friend. Okay, let's go back to talking about Mira. The mom Violet actually needs is her sister. She loves her to the moon and back, and it's so great to see a female familial relationship that is the antithesis of what Violet deals with in regards to her mother. I love the banter of them. I love how, like, Mira was the one that really got her prepared to cross the parapet and not her mom. She gave her the Book of Brennan. She really was like, I don't want to lose another sibling, because at this point, neither of them knows, right? The ending. And she was there for her. And I'm excited to see more of her at some point, because I just really love their relationship. It's so nice to see. Especially, I don't know, man, in a lot of fantasy novels, and you gotta give me a little bit of a break here, because my fantasy novels are very, very slim, okay? I'm talking ACOTAR. I can't stand the sisters in that. I'm sorry. And then Game of Thrones, where, you have siblings that hate each other, you have siblings that are killing each other, and then you have siblings that are sleeping with each other in multiple different families. My my idea of fantasy familial relationships are a little screwed up, so this was really nice to see. This was beautiful to see, and I really adore them together. Her mom! And then that makes me think, like, was she always that way, or was it after her father died? That's what I want to know. Yeah, I don't want to be an only child really hits hard. Yeah. Rhiannon, yes! I thank you for saying that, Lauren, because I couldn't remember if that happens in this book or not. But yeah, and she was like, oh my God, yeah, like, she wants to see her sister and her niece. And Mira was like, okay, like, I get it, because I would want to do the same for Violet. Frog, yeah, listen. A Song of Ice and Fire is a time. The brother who continually tries to gaslight you. Right. Keep her from going to the Riders Quadrant, but the second she realized there was no stopping it, gave her advice, tried to help her herself instead of trying to spirit her away. Yeah. Do mommy issues of this hit home? Yeah. You too, Tiff? her dad made mom softer for sure. I think her mom was always that way and the brakes came off when her father died. I think so. I think so. I'm not judging. I'm just. Liam. That was so devastating. It was devastating for a number of reasons because Liam clearly was one of the ones to fall so that they wouldn't all fall. It was so sad because she didn't know the true history of the usurper's children and everything that went along with that. And Liam was basically our plot point character to ease us into Xaden not being a bad guy, but also that all the children were not bad. And that even though she believed all of the history that she was told and what she read about in the scribe quadrant, history can be changed. History is not always as it seems, right? That is very relatable for today, IRL. Liam gave everything for them. He was such an incredible character. He was so humanized in the way that he supported Xaden for what Xaden did for all of the children. The way that he cared about his friends. The way that he was so brave. And the way that I mean, let's be honest, right? Xaden was like, oh my God, like, look after her because I can't be everywhere at once, right? I'm basically like a double agent right now. But even still, Liam didn't have to be so nice to her. And even though it was her mom that, like, put all of the parents to death, he wasn't blaming the child for the parents' actions. Whereas some of the other, some of the other people were, right? It was so sad. It's been my honor. I can't. I'm gonna cry. I know. I'm not over it. Not over it. We don't get enough time to know him, which is why I said he really played the role. Like in Rebecca's writing, he was great, but we didn't get to know him that long because his whole reason for existing was to talk about the actual history of what happened. Which sucks because he was such a great character. He really was. He really was. Grammy, wrap up the speech song. We love you, Gardevoir! Liam's death will be very important to the plot going forward. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be one of those catalysts for not only Violet and Xaden, but a lot of people on their side. A lot of the usurper's children. Liam Murch. For all kids of the rebellion. Yeah. I was expecting somebody to die there, not Violet or Xaden, but I wasn't really expecting Liam. I thought maybe one of our other side characters that we've been getting to know. Can we get Liam back instead? Well, we're going to get to there, okay? Hold on. Put a pin in that. I want to talk about some of the other, let me see, what else? The other supporting characters are good as well. They grow on you. Oh my, I love the dragons. Taryn is so funny. They changed his voice actor for Iron Flame for the graphic audio ones. But like the quips that they have back and forth, and honestly, the way that she responds to a dragon that could literally just eat her in one gulp is so funny to me. She doesn't give two shits, and that's amazing. And Adarna, I in my mind, okay, picture this dragon that almost resembles like a golden retriever puppy. Like if a dragon and a golden retriever got together, that's what I would imagine Adarna. And she would have like this little high-pitched voice because like she's like a baby, but more like a tween, but like still baby. And like I'm just doing my own thing, but also like I know that you bonded to Taryn, but like it's a package deal. I may not be a real child, but like I'm a love child, okay? That's what I imagine in my head. Me too. I'm excited to see where she goes in the next book. Baby Doug from Up, pretty much, but less dumb. He's a good boy, but he's more dumb. She's a baby, but she reminds me so much of Violet. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's another thing. That's some stuff we don't know, right? Who are her parents? Because it's not Sigale and it's not Taryn. So what happened with that? I don't know. I don't know. I think that's going to be one of the questions we're going to get answers to in one of the future books. We're going to talk about the signet. Yeah, let's talk about that now. 2 dragons? So, so here's the thing. Do you like her signets? And how do I say this? Hi chick, how are you doing? Do you like what she got? / do you think that's all? Because I kind of fucked it up with the question. I kind of screwed it up with the question. Her parents have to be legendary. That's what I'm thinking. His cronies tried to kill her. And it was so wild because in the beginning, when you're seeing them get caught, I thought they were after Violet and trying to kill her, but they were trying to kill the little baby dragon. Monsters. Parks and Rec means someone will die. Oh, fun. Signets. He's bigger. I do like what she got. Zayden. Ayo. Correct. So, I know nothing right now because I have not finished Iron Flame. I'm finishing it today. So if you know the answer to this, please be quiet. In my mind, she's got to have 2. Because she's got 2 dragons. So to me, she's got to have 2 powers. But I don't know what that could possibly be. Because I have no idea where the hell the thunder, all that stuff came from. I don't know, T. I don't know. What you're thinking as well? Represented in the people's lives, like even the secondary characters? Wait, what do you mean? Explain more about this, Simmer. I like where this is going, but explain more. The lightning strikes? Funny you mentioned that. That's actually one of the clips I'm going to show you. I saved a couple TikTok ones. They're the kind, I don't know who else is on this side of TikTok, but it's basically like spoiler-free insert movie or TV show here where it's like memes. That's what we're going to be watching, and one of them is about the thunder and the lightning. I don't want to spoil it too much because it's really funny. The lightning is from Taryn? Okay. The mending, she was like, oh, hoping for the mending, yeah. I was like, oh, duh, yeah. Starfunks, not right now because I think that would go into stuff after the second book. But thank you for asking. Save that for us for our discussion for Iron Flame for next month. Tuck it away. The time stop wasn't a signet. It was Adarna's uncontrolled adolescent dragon power specifically. Correct. Yes, correct. We knew that the lightning, all the thunder stuff came from Taryn. But Adarna's was like a temporary signet, if you will. Assumedly, of course. I struggle to see the difference between hers and her mother's, and I think she will get another one. Like, I want to know more about the storm signet. Right. What's something that could go well with storms? Well, and then here's the other thing, right? If she's got 2, would it be drastically different, or would it highlight something she already has? I don't know. Actively represented in their lives. Interesting. Okay. Isn't there something about the dragons' names giving them away too? Is there? You don't care for the lightning personally? Thanks, Starfunks, and thanks for asking. It was channel. Correct, Yuki. Correct. Yeah, it's we can call it like a fake or temporary signet. It's just like a power, right? You expected something more? Well, we could still be getting more, right? I wonder, hear me out. This is I cannot confirm or deny this, but this is just a theory that I have. I wonder if the dragons, when you are immediately bonded, will get some sort of power. It doesn't always happen immediately because I think the dragons really need to trust their rider. I think that's what happens. It's like, oh, you're not ready yet. I don't know you that well. Oh, you know what? We're getting kind of friendly. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of power. I don't think it's everything. Now, I could be completely, totally wrong, but I feel like the first years don't get the full effects of that power, depending on the dragon. Because you will remember, right, that one of her classmates was killed by the teacher because he was, I don't remember the phrase here, I'm paraphrasing the term rather, where they could, what is it, intrinsic? They could read the memories, read anything in your head. Not like Dane, who needs to touch somebody, but was just like filling their head. Intrinsic. Right. So I wonder if it depends on the dragon. I wonder if it depends on the bond. But I feel like there's still something more for Violet from Tairn. And then also Adarna. But that's just me going off of vibes. So take this as you will. The time stopping to be more permanent. The actual time travel. Okay, Darzog, hold on a second. Okay, do you remember when I started this off, I said, hey, do y'all remember in the beginning where it said, this has been transcribed by Jacinia from the Scribe Quadrant, and I was like, oh, unreliable narrator? No. What if Violet went back in time for some of this stuff? Okay, in the beginning, on the parapet, it's raining out. And I, for the love of me, always thought because her mom had the thunder and all the rain stuff, that's her signet for her dragon. I'm like, why is her mom trying to kill her? What if it wasn't? What if that was her going back in time? I don't know why, necessarily. Okay, hold on. I need to go through and do another read through now knowing this. But if she is going back in time, I feel like she would have saved Liam. But maybe that's for the future. Hold the fuck on! Anybody else? Oh my god, this is my new favorite theory and not one I've heard before. Darzog, you rascal. Who wants to do another reread with me? Okay. Before we go too wild, I need to talk about, I need to take a break. Y'all mind if I take a quick break? I can pee, and then we'll finish the quotes. We'll talk about the ending. Is that cool? Is that cool? I'm not wrapping this up. Don't worry. We're still going to keep talking about baby girl needs a break, and I need a pee so bad. Is that cool? Is that all right? Can I go piss girl? Okay. All right. So, any thoughts that you have right now, write them down, put them in a Word document so that we can keep talking when we come back. BRP question for you. Kind of want to ask something about this. If you were in the Riders Quadrant and you bonded with a dragon, what would you like your power or your signet to be? I'll go first. I want a little baby dragon, kind of like Adarna, but I want her to be pink, which, I mean, honestly surprises no one. She can grow up into like a big red dragon, but like I first want her to be pink. And I want my power to be not being afraid to ask people to make plans with me. No, wait, I can think of something better than that. I want my power to be not over-explaining things. And that's on OCD, baby. Okay, bye! Hello, we're back. Hi. BRP question. Oh, I didn't beat the ad. Are we sure that the... No, I am right. I'm all messed up today. Honestly, today has been going so fast that I think I'm just perceiving the ads as going when they're not supposed to. I can't believe we've been just yapping for 2.5 hours. Do y'all genuinely like our book clubs? You put a 1 in the chat. I feel like I need some reassurance today. I can't believe that I was so scared to do this last year. And we've got so many of you participating and hanging out. And like, this is such a passion of mine. Y'all know I used to be a teacher. I love reading. I always have, ever since I was little, with Goosebumps and Bunnicula. And I'm so grateful that we get to talk about our shared interests and passions together. And I'm so happy that I put myself out there to talk about this stuff with y'all. You want to be a healer? Oh, shape-shifting! Mending. I love it. Teleport. Shield protect. Okay, teleport is a really good one. Very neat, Crafty. I love that. Iridescent dragon. Oh, the language one is so cool. And absorbing the knowledge. I love that Bear Witch. I mean, if they don't, you can just make it up. That's fine. Induce calm and relaxation. You're your own 420. Purple dragon, yeah. A green maze tail. Hi, Krista. And teleportation, too. I love that. I love that. Water control. Protective bubbles. In mind work. Oh, very pretty. I love that SMG. And helping others. Yeah, yeah. Always driving safely to your destination. Okay, but same? Can it just be like safe transportation? Because then you could do buses and trains and planes, everything. Everything. And I would travel with you. I'm just saying. Useful skill, yeah. Purple or black dragon, mend or conjure things, yeah. I love that. Friends, thank you. You're so sweet. This is the first and the best thing I've ever been to. Thank you. Hi, Mandy. Thank you, pals. I really do love this. So as I mentioned, exclamation point holiday. I think it's 250, but again, we've got the whole month. 250 subs, including resubs, unlocks, book clubs, all next year. If we don't hit that, we will do monthly sub goals like we've been doing. Okay, so don't think that they won't happen. But I'm giving you extra options for that. And before anybody is like, Violet, why don't you just do it all the time? I put a lot of work into these, not only reading, but rereading. I come up with questions for you. I'm scouring the internet. I'm scouring Reddit. I am scouring YouTube and TikToks to try and talk about as much stuff with y'all as I can. So it does take time away from me doing other things, which is part of the reason I have it as sub goals, okay? I know I don't really need to explain this, but I want to so that you know how, like, how much I put into this and how much I take this seriously for doing these book clubs. I just need a date and then we can yell at each other. Done! Where is Silver? I think Silver still has meetings today. Okay, we ready to jump back into it? I want to talk about some of my favorite quotes. If y'all have any favorite quotes you want to pop in the chat, go right on ahead. I've got 2. Okay? And of course they're like romantic ones. There's nowhere in existence you could go that I wouldn't find you, Violence. And this is Xaden obviously talking to Violet, okay? And then, I'm going to keep you. You're mine, Violet. Only if you're mine. I've been yours for longer than you could ever imagine. And we kind of realize this at the end, okay? Which we'll talk about in a minute. But in case y'all have any quotes, share them. Let me know. Hi, Faye. I love you. How are you doing? I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. I Will Not Die Today is such a nice one. And this is kind of corny. But when I was at my worst over the summer, my OCD thought that anything that I was doing was going to lead to death, okay? Eating is something that I talked to y'all about, but some other things I didn't share. Driving. I thought my car was just going to explode. Existing inside my house. I thought that, like, a plane was going to land on me. I thought just I would combust. So one of the things that really, really helped me through this year was that quote, I will not die today. I will not die today. Yeah. Goosebumps. It's been my honor. That was another one too. Yeah, tomorrow's the day. Shall I get the wing leader? Yeah, Frog, it's controlled now. I mean, I'm not thinking about it. It's incredible. Not to say I'm not living with it still, but it's so soft that it's not something that I think about anymore. Even with food, I did great Thanksgiving. My immediate reaction was, I don't know if this is going to sit well with me. Sit well. As in, I need to take a Tums. Not that I think it was going to kill me. So, yeah. Starfunks, Faye, aka Faven, one of our beautiful mods, one of my best friends, and Cupcake, who you've seen in the channel, Faye's fiance, they're visiting us tomorrow, which is why I am off Wednesday and Thursday. So they're coming to Boston. We're going to an Aurora concert. If you've never heard of Aurora, she's like a Norwegian pop star. She's fabulous. She's great. We're going to see her. And then I'm back on Friday. Yeah! There's something about it being on the rage in fashion right now or something. Yes! Because he's trying to like... he's trying to get her to actually use it. So he's trying to joke about it to make the tension less. She's a Norwegian angel. She's the callback echo high-pitched voice in Frozen 2. She also, I wish I could play it for you. She had a song go viral on TikTok a year ago. She's had a lot of songs go viral on TikTok. I bet you if I played a couple of her songs, you'd be like, oh, her. Yeah. I'm really excited for it, Starfunks. Yeah. Her hair will send him to his knees. Oh my God, yes. That's more towards the end, right? Yeah, Frog, I'm the same with you there. It always happens to me. I might not get to a level 10, but say like on the day-to-day basis, I'm like a 1. It'll definitely go up to like a 5 for sure. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Stop fucking coddling her. Yup. I love that one too. Do you boys just want to whip it out and measure it would be faster? Oh, is that when they're sparring? I think I remember that one. Do the BuzzFeed quiz. You got Speaking with the Dead. I love that. Okay, chat. It's time. The ending. How did you react? I fucking screamed. So let's revisit this. In the beginning, we know when Mira and Violet are talking, Mira, her sister, is getting Violet prepared for the parapet. For her rider's quadrant. We know that Brennan did not make it home from one of his travels. He was kind of always there because we had so many passages that started with some tidbits of the Book of Brennan, aka the journal that Brennan gave Mira to get her through the rider's quadrant. There he is at the end. Hello, Violet. Welcome to the Resistance. I fucking screamed. I can literally imagine it in my head. I'm up there sitting with Kip, right? I audibly yelled. I threw the book. I said, oh my God, that was the best cliffhanger I have read in a book in years. And then it made me want to read it again because I said, how did I miss more foreshadowing? Like that was incredible to not see coming. To me, I didn't see it coming. Maybe you did. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw that coming, because I certainly did not. I thought, if anybody, you know what I thought? I thought that maybe because of Violet's dad being talked about so much that we might have seen Violet's dad. Maybe it was a red herring, but I was like, I don't think he's dead. But it wasn't her dad. However, I still don't know if he's dead or not. So maybe that's a discussion for another time. Maybe we'll talk about it next month, okay? I don't think Violet's mom knows. I don't think anybody knows outside of Zayden's crew. But it was so fucking good. It was so good. Dude, no. Bluebell, what? How? Okay. So my question, don't feel put on the spot right now. But was there anything that gave it away to you, where you guessed it, where you were like, I think he's going to be coming through. I think he's going to be coming through. Milk, thank you for 13 months. Welcome on back. How are you doing, babe? I hope you had a beautiful Thanksgiving, honey. I'm thinking about you. How are you doing? How are you hanging in, honey? Mary, you too. Because I definitely, Lauren, you too? Because I had a feeling we were going to get somebody coming back. My immediate reaction, so these were notes from our first book club. I thought it was Violet's dad or Mira. I thought it was Mira. Like, oh my God, get my sister through so that she can help with the resistance. I didn't think it was Brennan. I did not. We also talk about how Violet almost also got killed after Taryn picked her. Immediately after? Explain this more. We can absolutely do it, but I think I need my memory jogged. I didn't guess until the very end when Zayden was acting twitchy. Okay. Glad to hear that, Milk. I'm thinking about you, sweetheart. Some of Zayden's interactions with Violet when she mentions Brennan's death. Correct. No, you are right. Their first interaction, I'm paraphrasing here, where she's like, frick, can I get it? Can you hold on? I want to actually have it right here. Hold on. I need to find it, but does anybody have that quote? She basically says something to him like your father killed my brother. And he I'm muted? I am? You sure? Can you hear me? It's working in OBS. You hear me? Okay. I think you muted me. We're good? But basically he's like, oh, you think so? Or not like that. It's hardly. Thank you. Yes, he says hardly. I'm sorry, I don't have my book. I know I highlighted it in my book. This is one of my books, but not the one that Kip is reading my book right now. So this is one of my special editions. One of mine. Anyway. Yeah. You were talking about putting the headset and then there was no voice. Oh. No, but I'm good. Yeah, he says hardly. So he knew. How do we feel about him hiding that from her? Because that's going to have to be something that we're going to be exploring in the sequel. And even beyond that, if you were put in Violet's shoes and somebody that you cared about didn't tell you that somebody that you loved was actually alive, how would you feel about that? Because I would be upset, but at the same time, you have to protect that information for the resistance, for the betterment of Navarre. And I feel like I would be mad, but then I would be like, okay. My knee-jerk reaction would be to punch him, but then I would be like, well, my brother's alive. Like, that's amazing. Your shoes wouldn't fit me. I'm going to throw one at you right now. You would have believed him. That's true. Yeah. CIA agent running a secret mission. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm so with you there. Yeah. No, I'm so with you there. Darzok, thank you for the 100 videos. I'm sorry that we're blocking the alerts right now. Thank you, honey. Hiding stuff from her, as it turns out, completely justified because Dane. Right? Can you imagine if Dane got a hold of that information? Can you imagine? He already got a hold of information because she was too trusting in him. What? How many hype trains y'all gonna have today? This is our third one. Thank you so much. Excuse me. For the 100 biddies simmer. Thank you. We are 5 new subs away from doing another giveaway. We are 600 biddies away from doing another giveaway. Stop being nice to me today, or I swear to God. He could trust her. Yes! Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Crochet Cat! Hi, honey! Speak about Brennan because it's not his place to do so. Right! Absolutely. Given Dane's propensity to touch Violet's face, I don't blame him. He did it so often. Even before and after he told her. All comes back to fucking Dane. As many trains as allowed. You listen to me right now. I was doing that too, Simmer. My second read through, I was doing that too, and then also trying to note what how Zayden like responded to her. So I love book club. This interaction between Taryn and Violet made me laugh my ass off. Quit telling Sigale about my sleep habits. I grumbled at Taryn. I'm not dignifying that demand with a response. I do love that one. Adarna's my favorite. Both of them keeping secrets is sometimes annoying. Like, just friggin' talk to each other, but that big secret on Brennan, I get it. Yeah, the communication that they sometimes lack is frustrating, but also realistic. Listen, I will be honest with you right now. You are trying to stay alive every day, and you're 19. I mean, nobody's lobes are developed at this point. This would be a field day for Leonardo DiCaprio. No, but really, jokes aside, I do think the fact that they are so young does have something to do with it, on top of all of the issues that they're dealing with. Well, I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking the truth. Because she's 19, right? And how old is Zayden? 20? Dane and Zayden are 20, right? How old are they? 21? They're young. They're young. They're definitely under 26. So, oh my God. Hannah, hi! We're still just wrapping up. We're about to get into our co-working soon. We're probably only going to have an hour of co-working. Shit, I don't know if I can really add it into today. Do we want to try and do the co-working tomorrow? Because I could add it in today. I don't know if I'm going to finish my book. No lies were told. I gotta be honest. Imploded through her trials, not made it because her mind would have been on her brother. Yes! You are right. Or, as somebody else said, she wouldn't have believed him. So either their relationship would have been strained and her being like, why is he lying to me about somebody that I love that was so devastating, / it would have gotten her killed and then in turn Zayden killed. So 23, 21, 23 in March. Okay. Steph, thank you so much for the biddies, for yapping about dragons. This has been so fun today. Oh my God, I love book talk. Book discussions, not book talk. But I get book T-A-L-K with y'all. Who's Pole? You're a Pole. You're a North Pole. Because I could do it today, but I'm cutting it short on time because I still have to get some stuff done. I have no OCD tonight. I have my OCD therapy tonight, which is why I'm like running on a deadline to still prepare for tomorrow. Because we could split it tomorrow. We could do Sims and co-working tomorrow. Like we could do Yaps, co-working, then end with Sims. It's up to y'all though. I just feel like I wasn't anticipating yapping this hard today. I was like, oh yeah, it'll just be an hour. Here we are. You just want to read me? Okay, then why don't we plan then for tomorrow? Okay, does that sound good? Put a 1 in the chat if that sounds good to you. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry for being yappy. But I was running off of the vibes. Y'all were really contributing so much too, and I wanted to acknowledge that. So I'm trying not to feel guilty about being a talkative bitch. Have you met us? I know we don't shut up. That's why I'm like, man, if you spend 5 minutes in this channel, you know how we sometimes, not all the time, but like sometimes we'll be like, we get somebody in that's like, when are you playing the game? I'm like, babe, eventually, after like 4 hours of talks, maybe we'll play 20 minutes of a game. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. Thanks, chef. Dazog, thanks for the 100 biddies. If someone has Viking and Polish, does that make them a Norse Pole? Get out. Did you just come up with this? Also, if we're just yapping about everything, then I'll take this down for right now. Oh, wait, no. You're right. Okay, well, I need to switch screens. You're right. We still have to do the memes. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. We have to do the memes, okay? So we got a bunch from Lauren and Yuki. Can I show you the ones that I got so far? And Lauren, remind me for the clip too from your YouTube video, okay? Who's ready to look at some Fourth Wing memes? So let me keep this up here, but I'm gonna have to switch screens anyway. So give me a minute. It's gonna look a little bit wonky, but we'll do our best, okay? We'll do our best. Okay. Let me get mine prepped and ready to go. I have 3 for you on my end. Jesus, this is so loud. Okay, 1. These are supposed to be really funny. I think there might be some doubles in here, so just bear with me in the meantime, okay? Also, I need to turn these down. These are so loud. Okay, be quiet. Stop yelling. I have to show you this one first because this sent me fucking flying. I'm really sorry that these cannot be full screen, so hopefully you still get the gist of them, okay? Memes or else! I got you, Chief. I got you. Okay. This one says, Dane every time there's a lightning storm. It's so good! It's so good! Cry about it! Little bitch. Okay. So this one is explaining the Fourth Wing plot in memes only, minimal spoilers. I think this is still kind of loud. Okay, ready? Jack just going through.
It's Brittany, bitch. I am back. Oh, what? Wait! Huh? Girl.
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am.
It's so good. Okay, here's the last one.
I'm gonna make it on my own! And I'm gonna die this week, so I'm kind of bummed about that.
I'm going on an adventure!
If any of you need anything at all, too bad. Deal with your problems yourselves like adults.
I've had enough. Take your money back.
They redid this one, but it's so good.
It's
Brittany, bitch.
And
I'm back.
I wasn't aware that was something a person could do.
It's so good. Okay, let me come over here and I'll get the other ones all set up for y'all. But I found those. Friends is so funny. I can't believe I've only ever seen one episode. It was the Pivot one. I really need to rewatch them. Okay, where did you say they were? Are they under current book club? Or are they... Ooh. Oh, we got some photos. We got the quiz. Hold on. Are we under... Okay, hold on. Oh, y'all got a lot of stuff for me. Okay, how can I show y'all this? Okay, so I'm going to save. I've got some images I'm going to save that I'm going to put up there. Oh my God! All right. This one is a little lewd, but I'll share it because it is funny. And then I'm going to save this one too. Let me show Lauren's clip, and then I'm going to show y'all the other stuff. Oh my God, that's so funny too. Okay, hold on. So if y'all want to take the quiz, it is in the book club current section. And then I need to find where Lauren's. Okay, here it is. Please hold. Okay, so this is just a clip. Lauren, can you post the whole YouTube video? Thank you. Thank you so much. So go and watch this because this is a really nice, awesome deep dive. But this is the part that Lauren wanted us to see.
Heat washes over me, prickling my skin and centering low in my stomach. Odd, but whatever. It's probably the side effect of the power. Denial is a river in Egypt. Your dragons are having sex. No Martian. Heat washes over me.
Denial is a river in Egypt. Your dragons are banging. And no amount of whatever the heck Zayden was smoking could help this contraption. Okay. All right. Here. I'm just going to do it under this one. Okay. So these are stuff that we saved. These are from Lauren and or Yuki. Oh God, it's so big. It's so big! Why is Zayden so big? Hold on. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. You know what? I'm just gonna block myself right now. This is a nice one. I would still say though, I still feel like Zayden, in my mind, is a little bit darker, skin tone wise. But this is fabulous. This is fabulous. Why is Zayden so big? I mean, my name is Violet. Anyway, good night, everybody. We had a beautiful stream today. Anyway. Hi. Hi, that's what Violet said. I didn't, indeed. Yeah. But everything else is incredible. I love the tattoos. This is all great. This is all great. Phenomenal. Can I show you what I imagine like the best photo of him, which, to be honest with you, is kind of... A lot of people use this for resand. And again, he needs to be... His skin tone needs to be darker. If I can even find it. Hold on. There was a photo of resand that I loved. Resand Akatar. He's smiling in it, and he's so cutesy. He's so cutesy, and I kind of imagine Zayden the same way. But naturally now... Oh, I got it. Okay, he's not smiling here. He's not smiling here. But this is what I imagine Zayden, okay? Just darker skin tone and, the tattoos. So this was my Zayden, almost, when I was reading. Again, darker skin tone. But like, this was my Zayden. So I wanted to show y'all that. Steve, hi! How are you doing? Okay, moving right along. Here's another one. I think Yuki or Lauren put this one in. May the fourth wing bless whoever made this. And you can read the t-shirts yourself. That was your 69th Zayden, was it? Yeah, that was from Yuki. That was from Yuki. Thank you, Yuki. Okay, here's another good one. Young Tarn and young Gale. I think this is so adorable. This is so adorable. Keen, please! Hi, Lottie! Hi, baby. How are you doing? May the fourth wing be with you, and also with you. We lift up our dragon tails. That's adorable. This one is so funny. I think this is the last one. Tarn, Violet, who was just protecting Adarna. This is from The Office, if you didn't know. So funny! So funny. Am I missing anything else from anybody else? I think I got it all right. Oh my god. So good. Anyway, chat. This was a phenomenal talk. Should I take the BuzzFeed quiz? Do you want me to take the BuzzFeed quiz? We can do it. We can do it. Because we just don't have enough time to do the co-working, but I'm not leaving right away. You have one more? Okay. Oh my god, that's so cute. Okay, this one is entitled Story Time with Adarna. She's big. Who else do you need to know about? So she's basically using dolls to teach the other baby dragons. Liam Precious, Imogen Cinnamon Roll, Zayden Swoon, Jack Wanker, Dane Constipated, Riddick Ridiculous. Next, I'll tell you about Wipeout, the Parade, and Threshing. He's so cute! Little babies right there. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. That was adorable. That was a good one. All of these are really cute. You got Talk to the Dead. Do you want to take it together? Let's take it together. We got time. Okay. Ready? It's conscription day at Basgiath and you're about to enter the Riders Quadrant. Why are you here? I don't want to be here, but I'm forced to be. I'm being forced to be here, but I'm excited about it. I've been wanting this my whole life and look forward to showing my power. Everyone in my family has been a rider. I'm trained for this. I want to fly a dragon. I was looking for the Healer's Quadrant. I'm gonna say I was looking for the Healer's Quadrant. It's about to be your turn to cross the parapet. I would not survive. Yup, what's the plan? Throw off other people. Shared my secrets. I do not have a good balance. Are we allowed? I'm hoping nobody saw me pee my pants. 100% I would piss myself. You made it, surprisingly. Who are you looking for on the other side? The people that spoke to me in line. No, I should probably change my pants, right? Are we allowed to crawl? Any upper year cadets, I'm a kiss ass. Matches have started. What's your plan for the ring? Poisoning. I'm not muscular. I'm not fast. Nope. I'm gonna say I'm poisoning my opponents. I don't think they are allowed to crawl. I think unless they fall and they're holding on, then they can like crawl to get back up, but I don't think they're allowed to crawl over to the other side. Do we know specifically? Which part of the day is your favorite? Battle brief, practicing the gauntlet, learning about dragons, lunch, sleep. I'm gonna say learning about the dragons. I feel like the knowledge part would be so enticing. You're bored between classes. Who do you attempt to flirt with? I mean, we're not even going to talk about this one, right? Obviously. Okay. Who do you befriend? Dane, Zayden, Rhiannon, Imogen. Is it Roddick? I thought it was Riddick. Jack, Sawyer, or Liam? Definitely not. I don't. You know, people are saying Imogen is a cinnamon roll. She still was kind of like a bitch at the beginning. I think I'm going to have to go with Rhiannon. Rhiannon was super sweet. Yeah. What do you do in your free time? Study, train, plan, work up a fun sweat with another cadet. Well, for me, I would probably say train in the gym because my muscles are severely lacking. How do you make it across the gauntlet? You got a spell check, baby. How do you make it across the gauntlet? Staying calm. I was really slow. I'm going to say I was really slow, but I made it. So, T, a lot of people really like, Imogen because they say that she's like a cinnamon roll. Like she was just trying to protect her friends and stuff. I still think she was kind of nasty. So I don't really feel that way personally. It's presentation day and you're paraded before the dragons. What's the plan? Taking down other cadets, march before them. I say hello. If I say hello to them, I feel like I'm going to get ass blasted with fire. Be careful to remember the rules of each dragon. We made it to threshing. Oh, we get to pick. I'm going to say Gold Feathertail, obviously. Wait, Bo? Wait, what are you talking about? Keen, what do you mean? Did I say something wrong? Hi, dragon. Yeah, bye, dragon. Why did your dragon say they chose you? Confidence, strength, protectiveness, intelligence, menacing smile. I'm going to say for my intelligence. Lastly, what do you and your dragon bicker about? My relationship angst, inability to keep my seat, the fact that they keep forgetting to shield out their private moments, pronounce their name properly, asking too many questions, literally everything. My dragon is an old man. I'm going to say I asked too many questions. Ice! Your signet power is the ability to control ice. Our signets reveal what we need, and in your case, it shows your exact opposite. You could not be more warm of a person. You're always looking out for others and living off the moments you get to spend with friends. Though you're rarely without your smile, anyone who messes with the people you love will see just how cold you can become. Oh, I like this! Oh, that's cool! I like that one. Anybody else get this one? If y'all take it, let me know. I'll share it again in chat. Let me know what you get. That's cute! Oh my god. Usually I think these are really silly and stupid and not at all like me, but like, yeah, I am warm. I am adorable. Thanks for noticing. Speak with the dead. I really like that one. Scattered High! How are you doing? Control shadows. You and Zayden would go along so well. Interesting in the bedroom. Maybe we will see it. Astral project. Very cool. I am Elsa. Let it go. Haunted shadows. Car, you did too? Yeah? Yeah, those are all really great. I do like them. You know what, Yoki? I feel like it could, but it could not. It depends. Keen, for the love of God. I'm counting it. Anyway, remember when I tried to have us be a PG channel? Yeah. Yeah, we're not there today, friends. We are absolutely not there today. Oh my god. So yeah, listen, if you're on a book hangover, okay, and you need maybe a palate cleanser, exclamation point Goodreads, check out some of my selections. I also have a, what's the other one? It's under my socials. I also have a Storygraph. I've been using two, so I can get used to using Storygraph and eventually retire my Goodreads. But at this point, I still have both of them. I am on Storygraph. Yes! Yes! Keen, I'm going to be honest with you, baby. I'm trying so hard to just use Storygraph, but I've been using Goodreads for like, I kid you not, my OG one and my new one that I made for streams specifically for like almost 10 years. And I know the app so much better. So like, I'm trying so hard. So I said, if you can keep up with both and then, you know, maybe in January stop using Goodreads, I feel like I'm still benefiting from that. That's what I did, Keen. That's what I did. But the rereads didn't count them. I had to do that individually. So I feel bad. If you followed me on Storygraph like 2 weeks ago when I was fixing that, I'm so sorry for polluting your feed. The personality test. I have. I am INFJ. I got the book. Bear with me for a second. I got the book a long time ago, but it's on my Apple Books. Right? Is this where I downloaded it? ENFJ. 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 Yeah. That's me. Gotta speak with the dead. Yeah. And Fable. One of my other friends is on Fable. She's like, I thought this was gonna be the hot new one, but apparently not. How is it? Is it poppin'? What was the one that I was using last year? Was it Bookworm? I didn't like the interface for it. Me too, Starfunks. I'm trying to. Yeah. Yeah, and that's just the thing. It's like, it's weird because it's more user-friendly than Goodreads. I'm being honest. It's way more user-friendly than Goodreads. But I'm so used to Goodreads. And One of the things that I wish that they would change is like in the feed is you don't see any text. So like on Goodreads, if somebody reviews a book, you see that and all the text and stuff like that. When they're reading, they're making an update. You don't get that on Storygraph. I wish that they could do that. Are you really? Mia, you too? Frog, you too? Oh my god, hi. INTP, but that's Cupcake, yeah? You don't really understand it that much? It might be personality. Try Googling like personality test, I guess. So there's a personality test. I feel like I need to mention this because when it's brought up, I kind of feel a little icky about it. And if y'all don't know, it's totally fine. I don't mind that we're talking about it right now, but it's called, the Myers-Briggs personality test, where if you take this test, you fall into one of 20 something, I don't remember how many, personality types. And you read, you read through it, and then they can kind of tell you what to do in certain situations and stuff. It turns out that Myers-Briggs is not the best guy. He was very into eugenics. And it's been a little debunked in more recent years. Now, take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. Take all of the personality tests with a grain of salt. If you feel like you still like it after you took it, awesome. But I would feel remiss not to share this information with you. Yeah, we're all good for Fourth Wing. I don't know if anything plopped up, but we're all good for Fourth Wing. We're talking about personality stuff now. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. They retooled this personality system to repackage, resell it into businesses. Yep. Yeah. Which sucks because when I took it, I was like, oh my God, like that's so me. So I think they were on to something here, but unfortunately, it was not great. Yeah. Scattered. I didn't either. I only found out last year. Somebody was talking about it in another chat and they were sharing this information. I was like, oh my God. So if you didn't know, don't worry, baby. Don't worry. We learn new things every day. It's okay. It's all right. So, like I said, take everything with a grain of salt. If it does speak to you, though, and you like some of the information that you learned from that, that's still okay, too. But I just wanted to, share the history of it. You know what I mean? Hi, Pookie. Hi, baby. Find the bastards or something, did you? Yeah. I got you, Lauren. Okay. I wasn't sure if I missed something in chat. I got you. Occupational psychologists have debunked Myers-Briggs and do a different one called Ocean or Big Five. Oh, that's cool. Ocean or Big Five. So if y'all want to take a personality test, definitely try out that one that Ruggs just talked about. Ocean or Big Five. Enneagram is another one, Sarah's Die. Awesome. How are you doing today, babe? Very cool, very cool. It was accurate for you, just didn't know. I know. Me too. Because, over like the last year or two, so mine that what did I just say? ENFJ? The E is, I'm pretty sure is empath, right? Some part of that talks about feeling other people's feelings. And it became a red flag for people to be like, oh yeah, I'm an empath. And they're actually like a terrible person. And I was like, okay, well, I can't share this information with people, and I feel comfortable enough to say it again that I am 100% an empath. I'm 100% an empath. Extrovert, introvert. Okay. But I swear they talk about it in there about empathy for other people. Not just sympathy, but empathy. Or at least in the thing that I bought. That's why I said it was on Apple Books for me. I got it directly from the website. I got an ebook on it, ENFJ. Yeah. The 16 personalities. We are among 4% among women. Where's the part for it? Intuitive. Sensitivity. Here it is. On the other hand, they may be too altruistic and empathetic, getting too involved in people's problems, and finding it difficult to detach and stop worrying. In extreme cases, this can affect the perception of themselves. They instinctively mimic another person's emotional state, etc., etc. Such empathy is both a gift and a curse. Makes us excellent counselors, but can also overwhelm them with negative emotions if they are not careful. Yeah. 2013. Oh, style of working. Very cool. I wish there was a test for people to find out what type of learner they are. Like visual learner, auditory learner, different things like that. Because I feel like a lot of people still struggle with that now. Your INFJ? Cool. Maintenance phase? Oh, neat, neat. Read a lot of fiction, tend to be empathetic. No kidding, really? That would track for me. That would track for me. Visual learner. I'm a visual learner, not an auditory learner. Definitely visual. And I am I don't even know if there are classifications for what else I am. I need in-person learning. I took a couple of online classes in college and I suffered. Like, it was not easy to do discussions on message boards. I need the discussion. I need to be in a classroom for really good learning. And I also like doing. So, obviously right now, right, I'm learning German, and I'm saying to y'all, I'm struggling because I need to talk to somebody that is German, that can go back and forth, that like can speak both languages beautifully, and we can have a conversation. That's where I'm struggling right now. But if somebody were to show me how to, I don't know, whittle wood, me watching a YouTube video wouldn't necessarily help. I need somebody sitting with me and teaching me, okay, put your hand there, or like crocheting, put your hand there, put your hand there. And like me doing it. So. Oh, that's awesome, Rugs. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. That would be so cool. Yeah. An INFP? Oh, both of them? Making graphs and flowcharts was the only way you got through your programming classes. Yeah. I was very much a flashcards girl for memorization stuff. But I love graphs. I love flowcharts. I love a good Excel sheet. Oof. Audio learner. In college, there isn't anything that assists our learning techniques in that matter. No, exactly. You're lucky because back in my day, this wasn't a thing. But now if you're in college, some professors will re-upload discussions online. And I feel like that could fit into what you're doing. But it depends on this professor, how tech savvy they are, and what the college allows too. Or university. Did someone show you? You're also kinetic too then? Oh, am I? You're Excel sexual? Rugs, yeah? Is learned by doing. Oh, okay. Then yeah, that's me. Because listen, when you're a teacher, it's pretty much, it's auditory or visual. Is like the two that a lot of people will only concentrate on, and there's different forms of learning. But then most teachers weren't like me, and they didn't burn themselves out because I tried to teach to everybody in my classroom. So here we were. Almighty, thank you for the hydrate. I know, I gotta yap later, and I'm like, ugh. Hi, Chrisla! Yeah! For sure. Mods, can one of you whisper, Chrisla? Are you in the Discord, honey? What's easier for you, Twitch or Discord? We got you, we got you. Thank you for the stretch check. Interactive coding thing. Oh, that's so rad. That's so rad. Hey, you got it? All right, thanks, baby. Oh, no, you're fine, Chrisla. Honey, that's what the mods are here for. Anything you need. From like a, oh my God, something is happening to, hey, can I just get a little assistance? I got you. Well, I guess Faye got you, but we all got you. Makeup artistry was good for you because you could learn your visually seeing, but also by doing it. Yeah, for both. For sure. For sure. Okay, pals, I think I'm going to wrap her up today a little bit early if y'all don't mind. So just to reiterate, tomorrow, my loves, hold on, I'm going to burp. I don't want to burp in your ears. Okay, that's the last one. Tomorrow, we're live 2 hours earlier. Okay, so we're normally live at noon Eastern. We're going to be live at 10 a.m. Eastern. This will be really great for our cross the pond friends. Others, you might not be able to make it until noon, or maybe we don't see you tomorrow, which is totally fine. Don't worry about it, okay? So tomorrow we're going to yap in the beginning. Then we'll do co-working. Then we'll end the day with The Sims. Does that sound good? A nice compromise? If we don't see you tomorrow, remember I'm off Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be back for Feral Friday, though. Okay? Does that sound good? Alrighty? Please do, Yuki. Please do. I hope everybody views them, and I will too. All right? I know! I can't wait to see you. Thank you all. Thank you for stream, and thank you for a beautiful, beautiful book club. Once again, if you want to continue on the Fourth Wing journey, we are going to be reviewing and discussing the second Fourth Wing book called Iron Flame in January. You got plenty of time. Today is only December 2nd. Oh my God, it's December. Today is only December 2nd. You got over a month to read it. We got the holidays coming up. Maybe you got some time off of work or your studies. You can read it. I don't know if it's on Kindle Unlimited, but yeah. Okay. Does that sound good? Follow me on Blue Sky. Please, please, please follow me on Blue Sky. If you have a Blue Sky, and if you don't, you should join us. You know, I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm not going to raid today. I'm going to raid tomorrow. But today I have to go and pick up my prescription. I have to get food in me. I have to get other stuff ready before No CD tonight. And then I have more things to do. So it's... I need to go. I need to shut up. And if I raid, I'm going to be not getting my stuff done. So, okay? You're a Blue Sky. All right? I love y'all. Be good and kind to yourself and each other. Thank you again so much for the subs, the biddies, the follows, the lurks today. Thank you again so much for book club. My creative juices are flowing. I had the best time. I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? All right? Be good babies. Be good babies or else. I'll tell Santa. You're getting coal. I love you. Bye.